And now, uh, all the people so far, we're recording this meeting. So is anybody not okay with that? I'm going to assume that's an enthusiastic yes
Yes.
or no or whatever.
I think we need to say it again closer to the actual beginning of the meeting.
Well, they get everybody who's coming in now gets
Get
it.
that notice.
But
Some people
it's,
don't even understand what that notice means.
yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah. All right, we have 1 minute until 2 minutes till 2.
Hi, Rodney. He isn't unmuted yet.
Hello.
Good to see you, Rodney.
Hi, good to see you guys. Well, I know you were going
Hey,
to talk about Bruce Malkin there. I wanted to make sure I was able to catch that.
Good. Rebecca and her kitty.
Oh my God, she's on top of the chair.
Yes, one of them.
Wow.
I should tell Lindy to come running in. She loves cats. We've got friends who have cats and show up on the meetings.
Well, I do a lot of work with the Golden Retriever Rescue Group, and we just had our annual meeting, and one of our dogs came in and poked her nose up here to you. And I haven't eaten yet, folks, so I'm going to be noshing while I'm on here.
We had a pit bull for 10 years, and he did not understand this concept of retrieving. You throw a chewy stick out across the yard, and he'd run over and stop and start chewing on it. No retrieving involved.
yeah, that's the way my dogs feel about snacks.
Did you try starting, Judd?
What's that?
Did you start the recording?
Yep. Can you see it's recording? I show it's recording.
Let me try.
It says it's recording.
Yeah, it says it's
Okay.
recording.
Joanne, I'm going to make you a co-host.
Me?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
You
Okay.
need that?
no, I don't really need it until I'm on the agenda. so-
Okay.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Oh, it's just-
Okay. Well, that's,
Joanne, are you going to share the screen for the programs?
No, because this is all on the web now, so I'm just going to refer people to the web and briefly go over it.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Do I have permission to share my screen?
On the back of the chair.
That thing on the
Alright,
back of the
let me
chair is a
put your
cat, yes, yes.
A big guy.
Offer it food and it will turn its head, yes,
Uh-huh. Large cat.
yes.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wonder what Cookie thinks of cats.
I don't want to find out.
She's giving me company over there.
Rebecca says she runs a rescue group for retrievers.
No, I don't run it. I've just been a long time volunteer.
that means she runs it.
Yeah.
I've got 2:01. Do we want to wait a couple of minutes?
Let's wait till 2. I've got 1 minute
1 minute.
and we will start.
Okay.
Let's see, we have 18 participants.
Sounds good.
I comb my hair here. Taking this moderator position seriously, huh?
It's sports weekend.
Yeah.
We got Chris here
Let's get back to the
taking the idea
TV.
of a
I am
blue
fired
screen
up.
background to the upper level.
I'm fired up. All right, let's go ahead and start, okay?
Great.
All right, for those who are here, my name is Bill Porter. I live in Richmond, Virginia. I will be the moderator today. And spring is sprung in Richmond. We have 15 more days till spring starts and 8 more days till daylight savings time. I'm sure everyone's going to be excited about that. Luckily, the COVID cases are down, but we're looking forward to what's coming. Anyway, Judd, do we have an agenda people can look at, or should I
Yes.
just continue? Okay.
How's that? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that fine. Of course, I'm going to review the agenda. We have one sad news, and that's one of our good friends to the Neuropathy Association was Bruce, and Mike will talk about him in a few minutes. Then we have, as you see, announcements, introduction of new volunteer, review of resource directory, update of website, treasurer's report, and then a review of upcoming topics and speakers. And then, time permitting, we're going to have a break for either a stretch or bathroom break, whatever. And then we're going to come back and we're going to welcome new members. And then we're going to have open discussion and then discuss upcoming events and the FPM e-bike fundraiser. And then we're going to talk about the participation of the cannabis use panel. And then I will wrap it up. Anyway, I will pass this on to Mike, who's going to talk about our fallen member, Bruce Malkin. So Mike, it's all yours.
A few weeks ago, we got word that our friend, our PN group member and happy hour leader, Bruce Malkin, suddenly died. If you go to the website, you can see more about him. I often remark that people who show up at our support group meetings are the smart ones, the ones who want to know more, to know what they can do about it, and often what they can do to help others. Bruce was a good example of that, especially what can they do to help others. What can they do to continue to infuse meaning and worth to life while dealing with huge practical challenges. The pattern of his experience with PN was in many ways typical. 10 years of irritating signals with no one pointing out its implications, and then no clear diagnosis, no clear guidance about what to do. Then years of extensive life adjustments. But he didn't lose his basic personal approach of helping others. If you read the copy of his obituary that's on our website, you can see that Bruce had a whole lifetime of doing good. We were very fortunate to have caught the tail end of that career. In that life, he, like many of us old folk, collected much wisdom. He, like many of us, and that irritating old guy on the Progressive insurance commercials, wanted to share as much of that wisdom and knowledge as he could, and with us, share the hurt. For most of the past few years, Bruce, though spending his life as an economist, became our eye on the science news, and he aggressively shared what he found with all of us. His death leaves a big hole in our armor. He is missed, and he will be missed. Perhaps some of the rest of you have some comments, some reflections on what you saw or heard and will miss with Bruce.
Any other comments?
His wife, Joanne Malkin, sent a really lovely note saying how important this group was to Bruce. It gave him an opportunity to socialize, to share his jokes, which he loved to do. And he also loved sharing the information and research that he did. When I was writing footnotes, which we've discontinued as a bulletin, but still continue to post information. He was often the source for the research that's going on currently. He was very careful to stay on top of the developments in peripheral neuropathy and gracious to share it with us every month. So he is missed. Thank you.
I will say that I've only known Bruce for about 2 years, and he and I were buddies on Facebook together, and he and I would go back and forth about anything. And I certainly admire his brain and his wit, because he always beat me up. But I'm going to miss him. Anyway, anybody else?
Yeah, Rodney Smith here. I just wanted to mention that Bruce was the immediate contributor to any notes I made. He'd come back and give me really good comments and everything when I was doing that. And he was really a joy to work with in that area too. But he was very, very faithful in that and a wonderful contributor in that as well. Wanted to make sure I had a chance to say that.
I first met Bruce when we met in person. And the thing that always amazed me about Bruce was that to look at him with that smile constantly on his face, even as his attendant was pushing him in his wheelchair, and with his happy hours that I used to attend, Bruce was always positive, always upbeat. He faced many, many challenges, became greatly handicapped, and yet you never heard him complain. So he was just remarkable for remaining positive.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, we're gonna move on to announcements and updates. And Pat's gonna introduce one of our wonderful new volunteers, Diva. So Pat, it's all yours.
All right. It gives me great pleasure to introduce one of our newest and most enthusiastic volunteers, Diva Parekh. I'm sorry, I'm not sure I'm saying your last name correctly, Diva. But anyway, Diva is a graduate of Hopkins and has several degrees from there, focusing, as I understand it, on IT. She has been incredibly productive. She has the energy I can't even imagine having, that I wish I had. And she is going to talk to us first about her own personal story, what she'd like to share, which I understand began on the fall of a horse, and then introduce or review the new flashcard system for the resource directory, which she's rebuilt. So welcome, Diva. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much. So yeah, I'm Diva. I like my PN story started, I fell off a horse in 2017, my sophomore year of college. And then like 2 years later, I started like the numbness that I just had in one toe started spreading. And we chased down a bunch of bad leads because they thought it was because of falling off the horse. Turns out it just like woke up like the dormant PN in me, and it was potentially hereditary because my dad's entire side of the family has symptoms. So then like slowly my symptoms got worse, small fiber, autonomic, the low blood pressure stuff and all of that. And yeah, so I'm like, I got lucky because I was a student at Hopkins, so I could then go see the neurologists over at Hopkins and got my skin biopsy and got diagnosed and all of that. And immediately kind of started making all the lifestyle changes they told me to make in terms of like diet, exercise, and have been able to like see a bunch of improvement. And yeah, so I just really wanted to help because it's something that like was really confusing when I was first diagnosed, and not only the medical aspect of it, but just the like, you know, like how do I tell my friends, how do I explain to my friends what this is? How do I explain to my friends that like I can't do everything that we want to do together anymore, that I can't like stand for long periods of time, or if we're going to go to a museum for 4 hours, I'm going to need to be in a wheelchair and things like that. So that was, you know, like a lot to deal with, which is why I wanted to kind of help
Oh, okay.
other people. And then let's look at the flashcards now.
Good. Okay, I'll see you in a bit.
So basically what I wanted to do is like find a place to consolidate our resources. So this is the PNS Network website. And if you just scroll down here, it says a collection of verified resources. So you can click on that, or you can click on this. There we go. And this is just a little description. And we've got types of PN, causes of PN, and advice from our community. So we can just go through these one by one. So types, causes, and advice. So here I just have little descriptions of all the types of PN for people who just want like a one glance view of, you know, what's going on. But I want you guys to note that on all of these pages, there's a little form below where if there's anything we missed, if there's any information you think we should add, you can just fill out this form right here, and that'll allow you to put the information in. So similarly, we've got the causes tab, and here I included as many as I could find, but again, if I've missed any, the form is right here. And then this section is the part where you guys are the most important for it. So this is about advice from our community. So this is basically, this isn't medical information. It's just like what has worked for you guys. Like something that a lot of people with PN want to know is like, what are the best shoes that we can wear? What diet has worked for people? Like, how do you manage your pain? What kind of exercises do you do? So again, here form, if you guys want to share your advice, and here, if you just check any of these boxes, you can fill out your advice. And you can, if you want to be anonymous, you can just check this box and we'll put in your advice without your name, but we won't share anything but your name. And then, so let's just go through one of these pages.
Eva, I'm sorry, how do you get into footnotes again? Because I tried to do that the other day and I couldn't find it.
So you just go to the homepage and you click on resources,
Okay.
and that's it. That takes you
Oh.
to the table. of-
Diva, can I explain that this is replacing footnotes? You're not
Oh,
looking.
I
for
see.
You're not looking for footnotes anymore. So if you could do that a little more slowly, Diva, at the top
Oh,
again.
yeah. So you go all the way up and it just says resources, and you just click on that. Also, yes, please let me know to slow down if I'm ever going too fast. So if you just click on resources, it takes you to this page, and then you can click on anything on this page. Like all of these are clickable. If you want to see an overview of the causes, you just click on this. And we can look at one sample. So let's look at, let's see, let's do hereditary, because that's the one I know most about, because that's the one I have. Okay, so here I have little boxes with just descriptions of what it is, how to diagnose it, and then just other resources. So in the articles section, you'll find all the places where I got my information. So none of this is like from my head. I did the research on all this and I put my articles here. These are webinars, both that we've conducted and that we found in other places that are useful, like the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy. And then here we can have personal stories, here are podcasts, if that's what you guys want to listen to. And then here, if there's any articles that you guys think we should add, or like a really cool personal story or a podcast, you can just fill out this form. And this form is just, you know, you can throw in links, you can throw in anything that you think would be a good addition to these pages. And similarly, there are pages like this for each cause of neuropathy like this. So that's Lyme disease, and these are all links that I found about it. So another thing is, again, very similar section. If you just click on learn more for small fiber, for example, description, what it is, how it's diagnosed, articles where I got my information, webinars that you can watch, personal stories, and a few podcasts. And then if there's anything you want to add, you just drop them in here, or you can email them. If you don't want to like fill out the form, emailing them is totally fine. But now let's look at one of the anecdotal advice sections. So let's look at exercise. So we've got, why is exercise important? We've got, what do our members recommend? And this so far, I've only gotten feedback from the volunteer community, but today's meeting is opening it up to the rest of you. So what kind of exercise do you do that helps you? And here are just articles where I got my information again, and a few webinars, and some personal stories. Some of them are mine, and podcasts here. And yeah, so we can also take a quick look at another one. Let's look at shoes. So how do the right shoes help? And here, in a lot of these sections, I just put quotes from members. So thank you, Bill, for giving us the quote for that. And again, podcasts and webinars. So for something like this, I haven't found any personal stories about how the right shoes have helped people. But if you guys do find one, feel free to drop them in the forums and send them in to me. So yeah, that is a very quick overview, but does anyone have any questions or about like how to contribute, or you know, just how I've gathered my information or anything else?
Diva, I have a question.
Hmm?
As you know, I have put some information in there, and I found out later I put in too many commas or misspelled something, and I wrote you about it, and you corrected that. Is that what is doing that? Is that the way it works?
Yeah, if you want to change anything, you can just send me an email, and I will drop my email in the chat here. If you guys just want to email information to me instead of filling out the forms, or if there are any corrections or anything, you can just drop me an email and I will fix it. So yeah, that works.
All right. I found it very, very informational, and I was very happy to contribute, and I'm still in the process.
Yeah, and you can fill out the forms as many times as you like. Send me as many emails as you like. Especially for the advice from our community section, it's all about like what has worked for you guys and how that could help, you know, just anyone visiting our website who is maybe newly diagnosed or has been diagnosed for a while, or just thinks they have symptoms but doesn't know much. So we're hoping that everyone can kind of look at this and get like a snapshot of the initial information they need, and then links from where they can do further research. And thank you, Brenda, for your links on that, which so as soon as you guys send me links or any information, I can just put that in the sections where they belong. And yeah, and then keep updating this section. The intention is for it to be live, like it doesn't kind of just stay stagnant, and that as people kind of find out new ways to help their neuropathy and new things that they can do, that we keep adding them onto the section so that it becomes like a whole big collection of like, how can you fix this, even if it is through wearing the right shoes or getting the right kind of exercise, or you know, things like that.
I have a question. Diva, do you review it before it goes on, or once I put it on, does it go on?
I review it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So there's a time delay.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a time delay, and like, you know, I may not be able to get to it that same day, but I'm gonna try to keep my response time within 24 hours.
Yeah, no worries. I just wanted to make sure, like, if I wrote about my shoes, like you cleaned up my grammar and everything.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Bill?
Oh, Pat.
Diva, I would like, on behalf of the entire group, to give you a huge round of applause for the amount of time and effort that this took. What we had found is the old resource directory that we had developed wasn't being really used. People were not adding to it. People weren't necessarily looking at it. And it seemed like that was such a valuable tool, but somehow it wasn't easy enough for us to access. I don't think this could be easier to find the information you're looking for. If you don't remember to go to resources, just reach out to me or Judd or Diva, and you always have our emails, and say, I can't remember how to get into what we're called. Are we going to continue to say flashcards, Diva?
Yeah, why not? So
Yeah.
the way that I thought of them was like they're little flashcards that, you know, give you all the information you need. And basically, if you want, like, you know, if you're studying for a test or something, you want to take a quick look and just get all the information you need. But there are also flashcards for if you want to do any further independent study, like we kind of will give you a little starting point. And then if you find anything in your research that's not in there, that's where you can come back and like drop it in the form or drop it in an email and be like, I think this is cool. You should put it on the website.
And if you, many of us are attending numerous monthly meetings of CJs or something that Michael Wright has posted. If you have other information to share, please do that as well. The more the merrier, and the more information that's, now I'm being cautious here. We do have a disclaimer at the top. We are not medical practitioners. We are not saying that this is in lieu of medical advice or a professional diagnosis. We're simply saying that, especially the advice from the community section, that this is what has worked for us personally. It is not an endorsement of an infrared light or a particular Epsom salt bath or whatever you might have found particularly helpful for you. But it is a way, a starting point to say, oh, I never thought of that. I'm going to try that. And just like at the beginning of this, we were exchanging information about diet and whole grains and such. So it's, again, a beginning point, and it's only as valuable as the people who add information. So please don't let it lag. We've made it as easy as possible. When we started the resource directory, we used to have a password and all of that. This is simple. You just type it in, submit it, and Diva vets it and adds it as appropriate.
Eva, it's Rebecca here. I'd like to thank you too. Judd's always laughing at me when I say I know absolutely nothing about technology. So I'm so happy that you're able to do this and can make it so simple for people like me who can find things now.
Yeah, no problem. And I'm also gonna work on like a couple videos just showing you guys how to get to the forms and get to the section, so you can just see it if you forget how to navigate to there. And also, like what we were talking about earlier, if there's something like, I don't know, like I went to Whole Foods with Terry today and I found chocolates without sugar and dairy, and if they're good, I'll put them in the resource flashcards under diet. So like, you know, if there's something like that, if there's like a healthy cracker or like a healthy chocolate or something that you find, like you can just drop that in. And you know, like I feel like my biggest hunt at the beginning was like, I want chocolate, but my doctor has told me not to eat refined sugar anymore, but I want chocolate. So like, you know, even if stuff like that could help patients just like continue to enjoy the things they continue to enjoy the things they like, it's worth putting on those flashcards.
I ran into a tiny issue. There was a list of topics and it says, what does this relate to or refer to? And I didn't think it fit any of those topics. So maybe you might want to do an other and a line so that somebody can say that. I mean, that was just a teeny thing that I noticed.
Yeah, for sure. I'll make another. In the advice from our community section, let's see, did I put an other in? Yes, I put an other in the advice from our community section, but I'll put an other in the rest of the forms as well. So if
Okay.
you just want to like type something out that you don't think falls into anything, I'll figure out where I can drop it, or I'll create a new category. So yeah.
Thank you, Diva. This is wonderful. You have worked so hard to do this. I really appreciate it so much.
All right.
It's a
Yes,
lot
I
of
think
hard
we all
work.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I have a question. If, for example, you put up there that you found this wonderful chocolate and your doctor said not to eat refined sugar, is that, I might want to ask you, Diva, is that dietary restriction related to your neuropathy diagnosis, or is it for some other reason? And is there an opportunity for feedback to people who are giving advice or giving personal things?
That's a really good idea, actually. I didn't think about that, but I'll add a section in the form for that too, that like, are you responding to someone else's comment? Like, do you have a question about someone else's comment? And basically, I have asked people if they don't want to be anonymous. I've asked people for their emails if they're giving anecdotal advice. So then what we can do is kind of ask them, okay, like this person wants to ask you a question, and are you interested in like responding to them? And then we can facilitate that. But obviously, if it's something that like I or any of the other volunteers say, I'm sure they will be more than willing to just like have a conversation about it. So yes, I will put that section in a form. That's a really good idea.
Eva, I'm wondering though, if that's making more work for you, because then you have to facilitate it. I know that because that's come up with emails to me. Could it be that you're agreeing when you give your email that you would answer questions so that
That works too.
that you don't have to then be the mediator between the two
Yeah.
parties?
Then I can just forward the email along to the person who has like given me their email. Yeah, that definitely works. So
Better.
so actually I did put it in. Can we reach out to you if we have any questions about your
Oh,
recommendations?
that's right.
So I'll change that to, can anyone reach out to you if they have questions? So then if you just check that box when you're giving feedback and enter your email, and then if like someone else like Joanne has a question about it, I will just forward that question along to you.
Excellent.
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
Are there any other questions for Diva? And Diva, I want to end up again saying you did have done a fantastic job. For someone who's probably 21% computer literate, I find it very easy to use. So again, a super job.
Yeah, and if you guys have any feedback on like any of it, just let me know. I dropped my email in the chat. So yeah, just you guys can let me know. And thank you so much. I really have enjoyed being a part of this community, and I'm excited to meet the larger community as well and to hear from you guys.
We appreciate you being here. Okay, Judd, I've got you down here for an update on the website.
Yes, just following up on Diva's comments. I wanted to make sure everybody knew the correct address for the website. It's pnsnetwork.org, and you can get there just by typing that in. Right now, it does go back to our old name, dcpnsupport.org, but that's okay. It's easier to remember PNSN, which is Peripheral Neuropathy Support Network, and now it's just pnsnetwork.org to remember that. Just wanted to give you a little tour. We kind of like to highlight the website because that's really the place where we're storing all our information. Right up here, just like you saw when Diva showed the screen, the resources directory is here. It's really quite easy to find. events and meetings with the calendars here, and Joanne's going to talk about that in a minute. We have a blog, and the blog is just an assortment of articles that we publish on various topics. It can be anything. It can be announcements or information, access to articles, videos, and so forth. It's just an ongoing sort of, I would call it a newsletter, but anyway, you all know what a blog is. This members section will get you to a little more insider information if you want. Things like volunteer. Would you like to volunteer? You can do it right here. Or tell your friends to go here. The big deal is on our homepage, we have 4 major buttons: join, donate, volunteer, and calendar. If you know somebody with peripheral neuropathy, just have them click the join button, and that will go exactly to the place where they can find out a little more about the group and then hit the join button. Let's see. Oh, here's if you yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a link to that. We did create a page that says if you're on Zoom for the first time, here's how you do it. Here's what you can expect. If you have somebody you know who wants to join this group, just have them click that. And actually, I can't show you that right now, but I'll publicize it. And that would be a good thing to sort of remove any blockades to somebody getting on because they were afraid of Zoom. And then Diva and I have talked about putting up some other videos in the future, perhaps, that would help us. You know, video is a wonderful communication tool, and it can be used to communicate all kinds of things, such as how to use the elements in the website or our Facebook page, but also just generally. We are building frequently asked questions, and that's here. We want to build that up into something that really could be a repository of good information, giving links to everything else. And then if you need to communicate, if you need to find out more about the group, just go here. You can find out about the network itself or the local group, which is what we're calling this group that's more associated with the Virginia, DC area. And I think there's our blog right there. You can find out a lot of stuff by just cruising around the site. And it's pretty easy. Just get back here on every page. You can get back there and pretty much navigate your way around. I skipped over events and meetings. And Joanne, would you like to say a couple of things?
Okay. Well, rather than just sort of planning every few months ahead, we've come up with a team who has gotten together and looked at the next 12 months. And so starting actually this month with our open discussion, we have sort of mapped out the whole next year. And I believe that's currently posted on the web, right, Judd?
Right. Yes. In fact, you are probably seeing it right now. Some of these are our events, but others are FPN's events, Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy, and then others are events in various places, Pittsburgh, Bethesda, Tampa, and so on.
Okay. Well, anyway, if you go on the web, you'll see what's planned for the next year. The only month that we don't have a plan is July, because our meeting would fall right on the Independence Day weekend. We have every third month an open discussion like this one, so that people can bring their own topics. And we have 1 or 2 topics that we've identified. One is nutrition, and one is balance, and one is shoes and socks and other foot related issues. And so if anyone has some input about those topics, if you want to forward that information to Pat or to me or to Judd, we're all on the team together, or Mike, that would be helpful to us too. We're trying to keep the actual identifying and contacting speakers within the team so that we're not stepping on each other like has happened sometimes in the past. So if you do have a suggestion, please come back to the team. Okay, any questions about the calendar? If not, turn it back over to Bill and Judd.
Okay, Judd, have you got any more info or?
No, that's.
Chuck, do you
I
want to
mean,
quickly show them join and donate for the new people?
okay.
Very quick.
The join, 1 second, let me just pull that up. Okay, this is our home page, going to home. And then these are 4 sort of important things here. The join, we would like for you to join if you haven't already, and you probably have because you got the invitation to this meeting. But if you haven't, and let's say you pass the invitation along to somebody else, they're not going to get an invitation unless they are a member of our group. Membership is free. It's very simple. And you can go to just tell them to hit the join button here. And then this explains why you should join a little bit. Wait a minute, let me get back up here. This is the join form. It really doesn't ask for a whole lot of information, but just your contact information so we know how to get in touch with you. We're pretty careful about sharing this kind of information. So I think you can be assured that we want to try to protect your private personal contact information, but we do need a little bit, especially your email and hopefully your phone number and address. Let's donate is an interesting one. We sort of follow what I call the NPR model. All services are free. You listen to the radio, you don't have to pay anything for it. But if you choose to get involved in something a little more serious, then you can donate to the group. And donations that's very easy too. We take credit cards or checks. And here you can read a little bit about what we're spending our money on. And we're a tax exempt group. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So your donations are tax deductible, but you don't have to donate. All that we offer is free. And if you don't want to you can make a donation through our little Cheddar Up shopping cart. But if you don't want to do that, this is Rebecca's name and address just to send her a check. And it's right there. So let's say that's pretty much it, I think, Bill.
Good, thank you.
Okay, the only thing I'm saying, Judd, is if I did it and I asked you when I did mine with a credit card, and what is the tagline that comes back when you receive it, which would appear on my credit card so on my statement? Was it Judd Vaughn or something?
No. It would be peripheral neuropathy network or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's official. The money's not going to me. It's not even going to Rebecca, although she's the treasurer. It's really going into the bank account for the group. And so, is that what you mean?
I think there was a certain tagline on my credit cards. So
yes.
I would understand what it went for.
Yes, there is. And
I'm sorry, I suffer from senioritis.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to know that, Bill. I'll find that out.
Well, I can find that out too. Anyway, okay.
Judd, I think Bill's right. I was just recently reviewing my donations on my credit card, and I think you might want to double check back and see if it doesn't perhaps have your name on there.
My name?
Yeah.
I think it does.
Wow.
Okay, I'll check that.
Anyway.
It should.
Anyway, we'll check on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Just donate. Please donate.
Right.
Go-
That's
Goes to a
that's
good cause.
that's the lead behind right there.
All right, speaking of donations, let's go to Rebecca on treasurer's report.
There, we have not received any new donations. The last one was February 4, but it was for $150. It was really nice. We're still at $23.98 until you know who starts sending their bills in to me to pay.
That's me. Sorry.
Okay,
It's on a stack. I've got it.
okay. Rebecca,
Yes,
I just
Oh,
wanted
shucks.
to reinforce two things. One, we are a 501c3 effective September 18th, 2021. So any contributions you made after that are tax deductible. And Rebecca is asking anyone who needs or wants an official letter of receipt for tax purposes for a donation they made after September 18th, 2021. We're happy to provide that. She has, however, as I understand it, given an email. Thank you for your donation to you. If you're doing a standardized deduction or something, you may not need an official letter, but this coming year, 2022, we're going to be coming up with a letterhead and a more official response to donations. We just didn't have that many in 2021. So if you are one of those who did donate, thank you. And if you want an official letter, we'll be happy to provide one. Just email or write or call Rebecca or me.
yeah, I'll be happy to send them out, but I do need a letterhead, some sort of a, I mean, I donate to enough other places. I've got I can figure out what people say to me, but I do need a peripheral neuropathy support network letterhead.
Sure. Interestingly, Calgary in Canada has a PN group that Bill donated to, and he sent their letter as a model. So if there is any interest, we will be working on that. But if you need it for this tax period immediately, just write to Rebecca and we'll get something out to you. Thank you.
Any other questions about treasurers? Anything, Rebecca, anything else or?
Can you see this? This is the letterhead, the Calgary group.
Right. Well, we could easily replicate that using the peripheral neuropathy network logo that we've been using. We haven't adopted it officially, but it would serve the purpose for sure.
Sure.
And as I said, as a 501c3, I've done the tax form that was required, the 990 for this year. It's submitted, everything is official, so there should be no question.
Okay, and we'll need to get together, Pat, because I'm going to need all that sign-on information, so.
Yes, okay.
Okay, well, we're running about 10 minutes early, so before we, I thought we'd take a little 5-minute stretch or a break. I've got 2:45, and so we'll come back in 5 minutes, all right, 2:50. And we are going to welcome new members. And then we're going to open discussion. Is that okay? Is everybody for that?
That's great.
Yes, and during the discussion period, could someone help me get my camera to work?
This is Marilyn.
Yes,
There should be a video button well, mine's at the bottom left.
Mine's at the bottom left.
at
Yeah.
the bottom left.
It's got a red, if it's not working, it's got a red line through it, diagonal line.
Kind of like your mute button.
On the
Click on
left
it.
side.
Marilyn, are you using a laptop or are you calling in?
Tablet.
Oh, a tablet.
Everyone else can take their break while we work
Anyway,
with
I'm
us.
gonna stretch
I'll put a
like
little
at
music for 'em.
250.
Right.
250.
Judd will help Marilyn.
Okay,
On my iPad, it's always at the top. I think maybe the top right. On my CPU, it's at the bottom left. So you just have to look around for the little picture of the video camera.
Marilyn, you're on
Okay, hold
desktop?
on. Okay, let's see. I have Zoom and then I have a picture of you.
That's a start. Um,
And I
let's-
show my voice working, and the camera doesn't have a line through it, but it's not showing, it doesn't show me or any movement. And I have something that says stop video.
Could you stop and start again?
Is it possible she's just on speaker view?
Yeah, Marilyn, we don't see you. We don't see
Yeah, I
your
know.
Yeah, it's black. The camera's off for sure. You're on a desktop, right?
No, well, yeah, a tablet.
A tablet. Okay. So the tablet is going to be a little bit different, but the icon is pretty much the same. It's just a camera looking thing, and you should be able to cut that click on. Now,
I
Is
have
there any
something that says
possibility-
stop video.
it says stop video. Well,
Yeah.
that's probably coming from me. I was trying to get you, just trying a couple of things here. But I'm trying to think whether your iPad is sending a video signal somewhere else. Is it plugged in or you're on battery power?
No, it's plugged in.
Uh,
And it
And-
has me said leaving meeting. I'll cancel that.
it says what?
It said leaving, whatever
don't-
I did,
yeah.
it said leaving meeting, and I said no.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If you press that one, it's all over. Let's see. I'm going to press something here, which tells me it stops your video.
Yeah,
All right.
I see a line through start video with the
Okay.
line through it.
All right. Click on that then.
black.
Oh,
There we
yes.
go. Okay.
Oh, look at that.
I know it's a miracle.
I'm not the best right now, but I'll take anything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. We got you. Okay.
Okay,
I'm glad we
all
could
right.
fix that.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'm intrigued by your collection behind you.
Oh, yeah, from all over the world.
I figured because of the traditional dress on some of them.
Yeah, let's see.
I just wanted to say, while some of you may still be here and others are on break,
They're Dominican Republic.
Cool.
And Haiti.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to say, while some of you are coming back from your break, Diva put a link in the chat, which is from the Washington Post, about Senator Kane and his weird neurological symptoms after having COVID.
It's well worth looking at the article because he's introducing legislation for both research and treatment on long COVID. And one of the things they're looking at is neurological complications. So it has implications for peripheral neuropathy because he has tingling and numbness as symptoms. So I think it's interesting that there are 30 million people with peripheral neuropathy, and it took one senator getting it personally experiencing symptoms, and he's already introduced legislation. So
Well, it
hopefully,
only takes one who has the power.
that's right. So hopefully we will become more involved, especially as a Virginia senator, in supporting this legislation. He has two co-sponsors. I can't remember their names at the moment, but please read the article, take a few minutes and click on that even while you're sitting here, and then it'll be open on your screen after the meeting and you can save it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that we should maybe reach out to Senator Kane and let him know, like, this is a huge problem. That peripheral neuropathy is a huge problem now. He's experiencing the tingling and the whatever, numbing, but it needs more funding. We have that funding from the, what was it? The Department of Defense, but they're working on trying to get funding from NIH. So anything he can do to help with that would be tremendous.
That's right. We did get, I think it was $8 million under the Department of Defense appropriations, but the foundation is pursuing more NIH funding. So we may be called on to support Senator Kane's initiative legislatively. It would be a good use of this group's time.
Exactly. So I urge everybody to email Senator Kane and let him know about your tinkling and burning and whatever else you have.
And that it isn't necessarily long COVID,
But many other things can happen, and
many other causes.
we need
Okay,
to.
we are back to introduce, are there any break is over for most of us, I hope. And anyway, I would like to take some time to welcome and introduce any new members. Are there any new members or somebody who has not been here for a long time would like to talk and say what's going on with them?
You want to?
Go ahead.
We're Bill and Laura Hicks, and our friend Helene Lepkowski told us about this support group. My husband Bill was diagnosed in, I guess, October or November with neuropathy in his feet, and then also now with autonomic neuropathy. And he's struggling quite a bit with regulating his blood pressure and lightheadedness when he gets up and through sometimes during the day. He's also going to be having foot surgery in May. So we're just really glad to be part of this group and try to learn everything we can learn. We will go ahead and join now that we saw how to do that on the website. So we're in Herndon, Virginia.
Mara, this is Judson Vaughn. Can you say a little bit more about autonomic neuropathy? Because we don't often discuss that.
Can I say more about it?
You know, just what it is, how your history, any medical diagnosis or anything like that.
Well, Bill got very ill in October and was feeling very lightheaded, extremely low blood pressure, dehydrated. We've been to over 40 doctor appointments since then, cardiac, neurology, sleep doctors, everything. Anyway, long story short, he was diagnosed with orthostatic hypotension, which basically means his blood pressure it's hard because of the neuropathy in the part of the brain that regulates your autonomic functions like breathing and blood pressure and that kind of thing. It takes a longer time for that blood to equalize to get up to his head when he stands up from sleeping all night. So sometimes it lasts half hour or hour, sometimes it's hours. The solution they gave him, that was diagnosed through a tilt table test where they had him lay flat and then stood up and his blood pressure dropped precipitously.
They strap your legs to a table or to a bed top and elevate your head and hold you there for 20 to 25 minutes.
Let me ask, was that done by a neurologist? I mean, some people may not know about that. I mean, what doctor did you go to for that?
It was an electrophysiology cardiologist. So because he also during this time in October, when he got real sick, developed atrial fibrillation. So we were seeing, it's an electrophysiologist cardiologist who normally deals with the electrical part of the brain. That's who he test.
No, I was just curious because I know people friends of mine, they either go to a neurologist or a cardiologist, and I just wanted people to know that you pick one or,
Well,
We went to both.
the neurologist is the first person, although he's had foot problems for years, it's the first person who told him he had neuropathy, sadly. And he also ordered, since he had had a lot of cardiology tests done, he is also the one that sent him for the tilt table test, who it was done by a cardiologist in a hospital setting.
Who is your neurologist?
Dr. Richard in Reston.
Just curious.
Yeah, we're right on the border of Reston, so that's.
Yeah, I've seen Dr. Tacroni. He's in Reston too.
Oh yeah, it's the same office.
Same office. What do you call it? Neurology. What are they called?
Neurology Center of Fairfax.
Thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
Fairfax and Reston office, which is closer to us.
Right.
So anyway, this is all kind of shocking to us, so we're happy to be.
Oh, yes. It is shocking at first.
well,
But
you're in the right group.
we're here for you because we've all been through the shock and we've
Oh,
all
yeah.
kind of gotten to the acceptance and we're all here to support each other. So
Yes. you
we're a
bet.
good group.
Oh, good. It's been wonderful just to sit in and listen to the last hour.
Okay, Pat, did you have a question?
I would just actually like to ask if people would identify themselves, because it's hard to find you necessarily in the gallery. So if you're responding, say, this is Bill, Laura, to you, blah, blah, blah. It would help me a lot with a hearing issue to know who's speaking. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Okay, this is Bill speaking. Is there anybody else who is new to the group? All right.
Hello, this is Chris. I'm new to the group.
All right, Chris, what's your last name? Or
Shay. I'm in Southern Maryland.
all
Welcome,
right,
Chris.
Thank you.
go ahead, Chris.
So I was diagnosed with small fiber and peripheral neuropathy and autonomic neuropathy just a couple months ago, but I've been suffering from this for probably 7 or more years. Been going to specialists for that time. It started in my feet, and nobody could figure out what it was until a few months ago. I saw a neurologist, and he ran all the tests, including the skin biopsy, and so everything is confirmed through testing. So at present, my feet are totally numb. I have no feeling in there except for pain, and it's progressed into my hands. And I did have a cardio neuropathy as a direct result of the nerves messing with one of my heart chambers.
Wow.
Wow.
So that's kind of where I am at the moment.
Welcome.
Welcome, Chris.
Have
Thank
you had a nerve conduction test, Chris?
Yes,
This is Mike. And it was positive?
it was positive.
Do they?
Yep. I also
did
did that
they-
table test that was just mentioned, and that was positive, which makes a lot of sense. You know, every time I was standing up, after sitting for a while, I would get dizzy. Now I know why. This past summer, I ended up in the hospital a couple times, and both times they said it was for dehydration, which I couldn't figure out how that was possible. But now reading about all of this, I can now see the connection as to why those episodes happened as well. So we're just at the stage right now where we're trying to mess with some medications to, alleviate the pain as much as possible.
Chris, Rebecca here. You said dehydration. Okay, I drink piles of Diet Pepsi and that will dehydrate you. So I have gone to at night getting a big bottle like Bill's drinking now. I'll drink about 20 or 40 ounces of water, and that helps. You might try that. I don't know what's causing your dehydration, but if you drink sodas like I do, I live on them.
Yeah. No, my routine is couple cups of coffee in the morning and then water throughout the day. And one of my stays at the hospital, they gave me this, which I took home with me. So it's 30 ounces. So I drink 2 to 3 of these a day. So, and this is just flavored water. I think it's watermelon.
Electrolytes, you can get electrolytes and put it in flavored. Is that what you're doing? Electrolytes? Yeah.
Yeah. My primary care said to be careful with the electrolytes. You don't want to overdo it. So I do have electrolyte drops that I'll do in one 30 ounce, and then the other 30 ounces don't have it. So, but that was her recommendation, not to overdo the electrolytes.
So I have the same situation with like the low blood pressure. If I'm ever going to the bathroom at night, like I might fall. So what I was told is to use just pure salt. So I just got like salt tablets, and apparently like if you eat that much salt all at once, it's bad for the stomach pH. So I just like dunk it in like a 32-ounce bottle of water and sip on that throughout the day. And if anyone does do that and finds it disgusting, like I did, I put a little bit of like lemon juice in it, and that actually made it a lot less disgusting. So would recommend that if you've been told to have salt for like POTS or orthostatic hypotension related to autonomic or anything like that.
Yeah. I grew up on a horse
Interesting.
farm.
I haven't been told salt yet, but that's an
Yeah.
interesting.
I grew up on a horse
I
farm.
just get up
My dad-
slowly now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Whoever's
Yeah,
talking.
I grew up on a horse farm, and my dad was manager trainer, and he was out sweating to death in the summertime. And his doctor also recommended that he take salt tablets. So that might be something you look into.
Yeah. Yeah. I never thought of that.
This is did they label you with some cause for this? They say
Type 2 diabetes,
type 2 diabetes.
which
Mm.
interestingly, I was just diagnosed with diabetes in the fall. They tested my A1C. But the neurologist thinks I've probably had it for years. I've never been tested for it. The most my doctors ever tested was glucose levels, which were always on the high end, but they never seemed concerned about it. This was the first time when a new primary care physician had checked my A1C and put me on medication for the diabetes. So that's what the neurologist is attributing it to, is long-term diabetes that I was unaware of.
It's amazing that in this day and age, somebody could have elevated blood sugar levels for a long time and no doctor say, we ought to think about this. I'm sure I was in that state for a decade or more before. I never developed diabetes, but I'm sure I was in pre-diabetes for many years, and weighed 100 pounds more than I do now. And it's kind of amazing that doctors are not more on top of that.
Yeah. But I saw a ton of specialists in almost a decade, and it took it took a neurosurgeon who I was referred to, who said I didn't need surgery. He said, you need a neurologist because you have peripheral neuropathy. And he said, you need a neurologist to confirm that. So it was actually a neurosurgeon in DC who pointed me in the right direction.
Chris, what is your last name?
Shay.
Shay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Is there any other new
Thank you.
member or member who has not been here for a while? Who
Dwayne.
wants to speak. Anybody?
Elaine,
Elaine, unmute, unmute.
me? Elaine Green, no, the other.
Yeah, no, me. Can you believe there are two Helenes?
Uh,
And anyway,
Elaine,
my name's, I know you, Bill, because I go to the Houston Neuropathy Group,
Oh,
and I think you do too, right?
Catherine Stencil.
Yes, Catherine Stencil. So I don't know how I found this group, but thought I'd drop in and see.
Well, you found the right group
I found the right group. Okay.
on the East Coast.
Yes, you're right. And I'm in Reno, Nevada, West Coast. So anyway, I have idiopathic small fiber and diagnosed with an EMG test. I've never had a punch biopsy, and it's traveling a little bit. It's in my feet up to my, a couple inches above my ankle. And, I do everything that I have been privy to, diet, exercise, etc. So now I am seeing, and I don't have diabetes, but I'm on the cusp of pre-diabetes. So I think that could be a contributor. But I also only have one kidney because of the removal of a growth. So I wouldn't be taking salt, that's for sure, for anything. What else should I say? So I'm looking for as much information as I can acquire.
Doctor we had in November is a researcher who looks at hereditary forms of neuropathy, and the advantage from a research standpoint of having hereditary is that you can identify certain genes that are connected with certain structures inside cells. And and if you see that these structures are not built right, then you can trace that into disabling aspects of a particular cell, a particular nerve cells. So his theory is that as they find out more and more about what certain genetic changes do, they may find that a lot of idiopathic cases are cases where someone has prediabetes, and the prediabetes intersecting with certain genetic patterns causes this to start. So just right now, we don't know enough about research about what's going on inside the neurons. So yeah, it is entirely possible that being pre-diabetes might be just the tipping point that sets you at the point where some other genetic aspect of your makeup makes you subject to this kind of condition.
I've had numerous blood tests to rule out cancers and different other things, but I know that they only have a certain number of identified genes. They're continuing to find more genes. So how do I rule out a genetic aspect?
As far as I can tell, it's like impossible to rule
Right.
it out because they're gonna keep discovering new things. And like, actually, Pat submitted it to the flashcards that, like, they say that just like if you have the ability to just get retested every time that they discover like a new set, which like a neurologist should be able to tell you now's a good time to get retested. So because I had like a bunch of genetic tests, all of which came back clear, but based on just the fact that my dad's and all of my dad's siblings, and he has 6, have some or the other symptom of PN, it's very unlikely that it's not hereditary. But the gene hasn't been identified. So maybe in a few years, they'll tell me to get retested. And yeah, and then I'll do that.
Is-
But like, it's
Is
hard to.
genetic testing a blood test?
Yes.
I spit in a tube.
Spit, yes.
Pretty sure I spit in a tube.
Helene?
Okay, Helene, go ahead.
Helene, first of all, I'd like to welcome the other Helene to the Helene Club. It's unusual to meet another Helene. I
There
was
is
just
a
wondering-
miscellaneous group.
I know.
Have you been part of it?
I was for a while and I haven't been, yeah, Miss Helene, yeah.
Yeah, Helene Cummins, yes.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that right now, to find out if it's hereditary, it really is family history. They really haven't come up with a test yet. So, you know, if you can ask people, if anybody, my father, for instance, used to complain about his feet all the time, but was never diagnosed. So who knows? But anyway, I just wanted to say hello.
Well,
All right.
thank you and hello to you.
Pat, you had your hand up. Pat.
Yes, I'd like to respond to what Diva said. I was diagnosed about 6 years ago at Hopkins by Dr. Hope. And at the time, because my mother, again, not officially diagnosed, but by her symptoms, had PN, and my sister has diabetic peripheral neuropathy, I was very interested in seeing if they would find a marker. I did the spit in the tube test and got an immediate no markers identified, which I'm not convinced because I saw the same issues with my mother. But anyway, Dr. McCrae, whom Mike was referring to just a few minutes ago, who spoke to us earlier, told me that there are now more than 100 genetic markers for peripheral neuropathy,
Right.
and that I should repeat the test, that 6 years ago, it's too long. So I haven't gone back to Hopkins, but I probably should, because it contributes as well to their registry of people and their evidence-based studies when we participate. And I know it's not easy to get to Hopkins, but if you have that option, you might want to look into it, especially if you have a family history that's known. I don't know.
I think most insurance companies probably would now pay for such testing.
I will say, with a lot of insurance companies, even when they do pay for it, like just double and triple check and all of that, because I have Cigna and I almost did the thing without getting genetic counseling. And if I had gone ahead and just done it, they would have charged me like $7,000. But then like they sent me a letter, but I moved, so I missed it, and like a whole lot of nonsense. But anyway, so when I had that genetic counseling appointment, it's basically just a person going through your family history with you. And they then write up a report that goes to the insurance company and says, yes, I think it is valid that this person should get genetic testing. And then once that letter went to Cigna, Cigna paid for it and I paid nothing. But for a while, there was a $7,000 thing on my like statement, and I was just like, no, it just started working.
Also,
Oh.
Hopkins recently has had a grant or something that they are not charging. I had myself and my two sisters tested using, spit in the tube, and we had no charges whatsoever. So being part of the Hopkins community, I think, was the difference there. But check with Hopkins if you have the opportunity to go there.
So even if they find that it's genetic, how does that help with anything?
It may not help with anything, but it may help your grandchildren if they, over time, if they're able to come up with a genetic link and do more research. So, that's the way I look at it.
That's what I felt also. And when I went to Hopkins, I wanted to provide as much data as possible to their registry. I'm not sure, I didn't pay any money. I don't know if it was because it was Medicare or if it was because Hopkins has a research grant to look into this as part of the registry. So I feel that every bit of data that we can contribute is helping, as Joanne said, our grandchildren and down the road, understanding more about this disease and what the implications are.
Jeff very patiently has had his hand up. Jeff H.
Hello, everybody. I haven't chimed in a while. I'm not new here, but I recently, I guess in the last 4 months or so, developed a burning mouth syndrome. And I wanted to ask anyone here if anyone else has had that symptom. I was first treated with acid reflux, thinking that was the cause. And after all these medications, nothing was working. And then my neurosurgeon said, yes, it is common, and they are treating me with an anti-seizure medication, which apparently affects the same nerves that can connect to the burning mouth syndrome. So it seems to have helped somewhat, but it's still present. I've had it for about 4 months now. So anyway, I just want to get anybody else's input.
Jeff, this is an aha moment for me. I think I was the only one that I've ever heard of that said that they had mouth sores, sore tongue, burning. And my primary care physician has never found a reason for it. I did acid reflux for a while. It didn't do anything, treatment. I'd love to know the med that you're on. I happen to be seeing her tomorrow. I'm going to ask her. I just use biotin to calm the soreness and the burning, and that helps me manage it.
I will look it up. I have it here.
Okay, you could type it in the chat.
I
So,
will.
Thank you. I think the other thing that I have that is unique, I've never heard anyone else, is intense burning of the tops of my ears. They burn all the time. This and externally, not internally.
Me too. Like,
who is me too? Please say your name.
Eva. I didn't know that. I didn't know anyone else had that, but like it's super uncomfortable when I'm sleeping, and it's like on my pillowcase. It's just like I put like anti-itch cream on my ears, and then it just gets into my hair, and it's like a whole thing.
Well, someone told me to use a local anesthetic, like what they put on before they give you a dental treatment or whatever, but it didn't help. It just burns.
Like I've like itched this entire part of my ear. At one point, like I itched this part so hard that it was bleeding, and like so I just like put lotion on so that even if I'm itching it, it won't really do an awful lot of damage. But yes, very much. Also, I just wanted to add, the way that the Hopkins registry works is I'm pretty sure that they, it's like they pay for it with the registry, but if you do have insurance that can pay for it, they'll like try to get your insurance to pay for it first. But if you don't, then they will pay for it. Because that's what my doctor told me. He was like, under no circumstances will you have to pay this. So stop worrying and sending me 5 emails a day. But yeah.
That could be the way it worked, but the important thing is not paying for it, right?
All right, I guess we're moving into open discussion now, and I know we're having some great discussion, so I'm just saying that if anybody else wants to bring something up, please do.
I'd like to
ahead,
encourage everyone who, this is Judson, everybody who's on the call who hasn't joined the membership list, I really encourage you to do that. It's easy to get on, but it's also easy to get off. If you find out this group is not for you, you know, you can just unsubscribe yourself or contact one of us, and nobody wants to get a bunch of junk mail. So if the Hicks, I don't know if you all are in the membership list. I didn't see Jeff in there either. And Chris, I don't believe is. So anyway, if you're not on our list, please do join. That's my commercial for today.
I should be on your list because I've been receiving your emails for about 6 months now.
Well, that's a good sign. Jeff, what is your last name?
I put it in the chat, Haber, H-A-B-E.
Oh, good. Okay, great.
And could I ask Chris Shea, just because we try to keep this, where you got information about the group, how did you know about us?
I found you just through doing a web search. I was looking for support groups in the area.
Excellent, thank you. Happy to hear that.
Okay, is there any, being open discussion, is there anything else that somebody brings up? If not, I've got something I'd like to bring up.
Diane raised her hand. Diane Moens.
Who did? I'm sorry. Who did?
Diane.
Diane, you have to unmute. Diane, you're muted.
Okay, there we go. I have both peripheral neuropathy, but I don't have pain, but I have lots and lots constant annoying feelings in my feet, and also getting that feeling like kind of walking on bones or not without a lot of padding. But I also have erythromyalgia, and I went to a pain specialist, and he suggested that I might try either a spinal cord, the newer high frequency spinal cord stimulator, or before that, even before, I suggested trying a sympathetic block. And I was wondering if anyone has had either one of those within the last, very recently, like year or two, and found it helpful, or any information you might share on that. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, but anyway, like I said, he suggested that maybe I try the sympathetic block first. So has anybody had experience with either the sympathetic blocks or the high frequency 10 kilohertz spinal cord stimulator? The high frequency is fairly new. In fact, Michael Wright's group had a speaker, a Dr. Leonardo Capero, who's a leader in that. And I think he's president of the North America and National Neuromodulation Society, and has done lots of research on it. So anyway, again, basically my question is if anyone's had an experience with either one of those treatments.
Let me just make a general comment about pain. I have pain in my toes, which occurs when I lie down at night, and I wonder if the pain's going to come back, and it always does. No pain until I ask myself that question. And it does. I have pain if I'm sitting here and the discussion goes to peripheral neuropathy, and the pain comes back because I'm thinking about it. This pain is chronic. That is, it's not because there's some acute danger. It's because there are patterns of memory, and they're bad memories. They're memories you don't like, and you can get in the habit of feeling those things. You can think about it. Is it going to happen? It does. The point being that we don't know much about peripheral nerves. I was reading just recently a study where they were trying to see how they could measure sensations. And they started off with rats. And what they did is they took the rat and they cut away the part of his skin above his spinal cord. And they sprinkled some stuff in there to make nerves so that they would light up if they received signals. And then they sewed the rat back up and waited a while, months or so, until the rat was totally healed. And then they waited, and then they opened the rat up again and put a sensor in there. And they were able to watch the nerves light up when they tickled the toes or stroked the leg or did something that caused sensations to happen. And I was looking at that and I said, boy, we must not know very much about these sensory nerves if we have to go through that in order to detect that there is any sensation at all. My point being that we, as a society, as a world, we don't know very much about the way these nerves work. We really don't. And so the doctors and the researchers and everyone else, they're really shooting in the dark. They don't really know how these nerves work. When they apply various techniques to try, that somebody says, well, maybe this will help. Well, maybe it will. And there are always cases where these various things do work for somebody and they do really help them and they do manage to go through their life happier because of those treatments. But that doesn't mean we know what's going on. It really doesn't. So when you ask the question, just recognize what the tremendous level of uncertainty we have about just what is going on with those nerves in your legs and in your ears and in your mouth. We just don't know very much.
Diane, I just put in the chat a message to you with the erythromyalgia websites and information that I've been able to gather. I have that problem as well.
Oh, you do. I've been working with the TEA, the Erythromyalgia Association, and they've also just started a Zoom support group, which is, thank goodness. And I've seen a lot of doctors about this. So yeah, I'm familiar with all the different things they try, but yeah, I wouldn't mind hooking up with you sometime to talk to you about that. Oh, that's right. You were on the Zoom group, I think. Maybe you weren't 2 weeks ago.
Probably. With
Right. I forgot about that.
Yes.
With PK. Anyway, thank you. Yes. Thank you. All of you, both of you, for your suggestions and your comments. So I take it nobody in the group here has probably had either one of those treatments. And I'm looking at it more for the possible for the EM, erythromyalgia, and the peripheral neuropathy, but just thought I'd ask. Okay.
Good question.
Well,
excuse me, is there anybody else who has just a question?
Gloria does, Bill. Gloria Norris.
Gloria, I see that you're asking about Methanex. I know that Judd takes it. Judd, do you want to help her out on?
Oh yeah, I consider it a miracle cure. So I'm probably a bad one to talk about it. You need a little more objective opinion, but my podiatrist recommended it 4 years ago. It's a food supplement. It isn't approved by the FDA, and you have to have a doctor's prescription to do it. I take it. Take 2 capsules a day. It has pretty much arrested my neuropathy. I have no foot pain.
What is the name again?
What's the name?
Yeah, can you write it?
Oh, it's called Meta NX is what I
Meta-NX.
It's in the
people
chat.
say Metanx, but
I see it. Yes.
It doesn't work for everybody, and it's only been researched, as I understand it, with people with diabetic neuropathy. But I think other people could benefit. You got to try it. It takes a little while to kick in, but I know when I get off my routine, all of a sudden I feel it. I mean, it's no cure, it's a treatment. So once you stop taking it, of course, the neuropathy comes back. But I would say it's arrested my neuropathy.
Could I make a
feel that
comment?
strongly about it.
Could I make a comment, Judd? Methanex is basically a high-powered B6, and B6 can cause a lot of problems. You must be low in B6 to begin with for that to work, because I tried it and it didn't do anything for me.
Well, of course, B6 is required by our bodies to build nerves. And so we need B6, but we don't need an overabundance of it.
Correct, yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm not sure about what your statement is. As I read people who have it, I think, I don't know, 40% maybe do not get any relief from it, but
you need to have have a blood workup done so they can read all of your B6, B12, B everything levels. You know,
Yeah.
my neuropathy is they think was caused by B12 deficiency.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, and that's another part of this is getting enough B12. Do you think it helped, B12?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I got injections a couple of times and I'm very careful now about taking my B12 supplements.
Yeah. And
When you
meta
say it halts your,
B12 too.
Judd, when you say it halts your neuropathy, you mean it relieves your pain or makes it go away?
Yes.
What about the progression of the weakness and disease? Have you seen any progression there?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, as I got older, yeah. And weakness, sure. And then you know, my neuropathy, I feel like I have socks on all the time. And my balance is not improving. So, I mean, it's not a miracle cure. What it does is stop the excruciating pain that I was feeling before.
Yeah, the thing is that the thing that's going to affect you in the end, the thing that got to Bruce, well, that wasn't what killed him, but we don't know what killed him, but what got to Bruce over the years was his increasing disability, his inability to walk. And he made extensive changes in his life to deal with that. That's going to progress. That we don't know how to stop. If the pain, if you have severe pain, you really need to do something about that, one way or the other. Psychological counseling, medications, patches, whatever. Find something that works because you get on with your life. Got to deal with the pain, but you have to recognize that the progression is also happening in the nerves that drive your muscles, and you are looking at losing your ability to walk, and that's devastating for the rest of the activities in your life. Chris, I wonder if Chris could comment on how intensive he has become about his exercise, because he mentioned that people had recommended exercise for him. I wonder if Chris would be willing to comment on that, or the Hickses if they're still here. I don't think they're here. Chris?
No, the Hicks left.
Oh, the Hicks left. Chris, would you be willing to comment on exercise?
Yeah, exercise has been recommended. They always say whatever I can endure. Walking is getting very difficult for me. I now have to use a cane for balance. So it's really whatever I can do, but I find that the more that I do, then the more pain I'm going to have at night. Hopefully with adjusting of some of the medications we're doing right now, that'll help that, so I could maybe do some more. But I was also given some feet exercises to try to get them a bit more circulation through them. You know, I mean, we're definitely not going to bring the feeling back, but they're worried about circulation. So there's a lot of things that was mentioned to me when I'm sitting, what I could do with my feet just to keep the circulation going.
The reason I asked is if I can follow up to your answer, did they try to explain to you why they want you to exercise? Did they go into any kind of explanation of here's what's going on and why you should emphasize exercise?
They're worried about blood flow. So they want to keep the blood flowing through, so that even though I have no feeling in my feet, a concern would be if the blood flow continues the way it is. Like my feet are cold to the touch. So their concern would be, you know, would it ever come to a point down the road of amputation? So if I can keep the feet moving, keep blood running through, again, it won't necessarily help me walk better. It won't make the nerves come back, but maybe it'll help me to keep my feet attached.
Yes, with diabetes, you do have to worry about the small blood vessels dying.
Yeah. All right, we have about We have about 5 more minutes to go before we move on, but for maybe one more question somebody has.
I do, Helene.
Okay,
Um,
go ahead.
My fingers have been getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and very sensitive to cold. And I find I can't put any numbing medicine on them because then it gets in my eyes and my mouth and wherever. Does anybody have anything in particular they use for hands or fingers? Nada.
You
No.
could wear gloves.
I
Uh,
do when I'm in the sink, I do wear gloves, but the rest of
No,
the
but you
time I
could
do
wear
not.
them otherwise. You could wear copper compression gloves.
Oh,
I use you.
that's an
Or
idea.
Helene, when you put that numbing cream on, maybe you could put some gloves on until it's
Over it.
absorbed, and that might help you.
That's a good idea too. All right, great, thank you.
All right, anybody else? Well, I think it's been a great open discussion, but we're going to have to move on to Pat. You're up talking about the FPN fundraiser.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to share my screen. I hope this is going to work. And in just a second. There we go. Let's see if the video is coming up. In the meantime, while I get this up, I would like to just explain to you a little bit about what I'm getting ready to talk about. Judd, if you could pull up ebiketour.org while I begin the background information. The Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy has been offered a pretty amazing opportunity. There's a man named Dr. Greg Masson. I think I'm saying his name correctly. He actually is a Dutch citizen, but lives here in DC. And he is on his own paying for an effort that resulted from a trip he made to Hopkins. He had been struggling for about 6 years, I think it was, with symptoms. And it wasn't until he saw Dr. Hoke at Hopkins that it was actually diagnosed as PN. And when he talked to Dr. Hoke about what he could do about it, he said the classic exercise, exercise, exercise. And so he had been a biker in the past, and he said, well, I'm going to go ahead and try to, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and try to retrain my legs and strengthen them. And he has spent a year training on an e-bike, an electric bike, as you can see, I think on the video here. And what he's trying to do now is a cross-country trip on his bike, a very specialized custom-made bike in Germany. And he's going to travel 3,600 miles. We're going to go back to that in a moment. 3,600 miles across the country from Washington, DC, starting on April 2nd till he reaches San Francisco in approximately 4 months. That's what the schedule calls for. Along the way, he's going to stop in 12 cities, be met, we hope, by media outlets who will cover the story. And he's trying to raise $50,000 for the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy.
Wow.
He's advertising it as an e-bike tour. He has a group of, he actually funded a group called e-bike lovers, I think, .org. I'm not sure. Can you bring that back up again, Judd or Mike, whoever had it? And what he's doing, if you'll scroll up for me, please, Judd, there you go. 1 cent per mile is sort of his slogan. And you can see he has a $50,000, like you used to see a thermometer. He's going to be moving along as he raises the money in each of the places. But it's not just about money, it's about raising awareness for peripheral neuropathy. If you go to this website, which is just ebiketour.org, if you go up again, scroll please up. If you, there you go. He's doing it solo. He doesn't even have a car going with him. It's just pretty amazing to me. Totally organized. He's been planning it for a year. He has stops lined up, where he's sleeping, everything. And if you see the donate 1 cent per mile, you can click on that and make a pledge or make a donation. We don't necessarily need to see that, but as you can see, it's going to let you donate directly to the foundation. He doesn't want any involvement in the money part. So that's exciting. It's going to all go the 100% to the foundation. If you can go back again, I want to show them the video very quickly. He is going to, not quite there yet. He is going to answer questions all along the way. I think the recording is up. No. Okay. Anyway, he has ambassadors all along the route, and he, as I said, has trained. He has a second bike ready if something happens to this bike. And what he's asking of us, or what the foundation actually is asking of us, if we would be willing to support it, especially in light of the fact that we are the Virginia DC group, along with Steve's group now in Bethesda Chevy Chase. What they're asking for is whether we are interested at all in being in-person representatives of the peripheral neuropathy sufferers in the United States by going to the send-off of the bike on April 2nd. Unfortunately, it's in DC at 10 o'clock in the morning, which isn't ideal, but it is a Saturday. And I told them at the foundation and Greg that we would discuss it at this meeting and see if we are interested at all. I know that Judd and David Bush both are members of bikers groups. There might be others out there who are members of bikers groups that would be interested in meeting with these are analog, meeting with the e-bike group, doesn't matter. Or we can just individually make donations, or we as a group can make a donation to just give them a send-off. So there you go. If you can go down further now. No, just scroll down. More, all the way down. 1 cent per mile. The tour starts on the 2nd. There, click on that, please.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Gregory. I'm going to e-bike cross country from Washington, D.C. to the Bay Area. I'm raising funds for the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy, and I hope you will be part of my journey. 1 cent per mile for research and education. I will be following the Lincoln Highway. It's the same route that Ike Eisenhower followed when he was part of a convoy in 1919. The convoy drove an average of 6 miles per hour. I hope the e-bike an average of 12. It will take me 4 months to complete the tour over 3,400 miles east to west. Make a difference to millions of Americans who are suffering from this debilitating condition. Visit ebiketour.org and be part of the journey. 1 cent per mile, tax deductible. See you on the trail.
So you can find more about this on ebiketour.org or on the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy's website. I will not ask for an answer right now. It is April 2nd though, and that's coming up relatively quickly. If you have an interest in this in any way of supporting it, if you could write to me at leader@dcpnsupport.org, and I put that in before, but I'll put it again. Especially if you have any interest in being there in person, holding up signage saying support PN research or whatever. We have also talked about maybe having a Zoom meeting to send them off. He will have some e-bikers with him, and they're going to go the first 10 miles with him or something, just hoping to get national media attention for the start. And they asked us if we would be interested at all in being there physically. And I know with the pandemic, not many people have been out in crowds, but it is outside and it's not really going to be a crowd. So anyhow, leader@dcpnsupport.org. And my name is Pat Gualtieri. If you are interested in learning more about it or voicing an opinion, I'm happy to hear it either now or by email. Questions?
I live in Reno, which I think he's coming through.
He is.
Yes. So,
Excellent. I'm
so
really happy to know that.
yes. So you could connect him up with me and I don't know what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Is he wearing clogs then?
Yes, he is. He is a Dutch citizen, and that's part of, he said the Dutch love their bikes, and that's part of his image that he's trying to project of exercise and the importance of it. And oh, I forgot to say, the really cool thing is in that he's going to be towing a little trailer, and he is going to have a drone and a camera, and he's going to be filming the whole thing and hopes to turn it into a Netflix documentary. Wow, wouldn't that be amazing for peripheral neuropathy?
Great job. Great job.
And he's paying his entire expenses, so any money raised goes directly to the foundation. There's no administrative costs or anything. So just a really terrific opportunity. Okay, if there are no other questions.
Thank you, Pat. Do you want to speak on the cannabis use panel?
Sure. This is simply not to start a sharing of information and personal stories, but what we're trying to do is in May, in lieu of a speaker, we hope to have a panel of our members who have had experience with cannabis use, positive or negative, in the management of PN pain. We have Rich Davis, who is willing to serve as the moderator of the panel. And a couple of people have sort of said, well, I'd be willing to answer questions or tell my experience. So again, using that same leader at, or Bill Porter, do you want to put up your email? I don't know. You can just email me at leader@dcpnsupport.org if you have an interest in being on the panel and telling your story. I've used the cannabis oil. I didn't feel like it did anything for me. This is not medically directed discussion. It's just an open discussion among ourselves as to what we've tried. And I'm going to have an update on the Virginia law. I've already looked into it, and also about medical marijuana use and how you apply to get approval for that. So we're hoping to just bring it more to light. And if people have experience with it that they'd like to share, we certainly would like to hear from you. Thank you.
Fit mine in, sure. Okay,
Questions about the cannabis use panel?
all right. Well, I'm going to wrap. If there's no other questions for Pat, I'm going to wrap up the meeting and
Just to say one thing, Bill.
yes.
His course runs through a lot of towns in Northern Virginia, Reston, Sterling, Herndon. There's a lot of places we could organize a group greeting besides the boat ramp. The boat ramp's a little hard to get to.
It is.
Uh,
We could talk about that. I think one of the concerns is that he only has 12 designated spots, and one of them is Georgetown and the next is Baltimore. So, but he may be willing to say that if we're willing to get a group together, and we especially, like if we got the patch, we're not looking for the Washington Post coverage. The foundation is trying to do the national coverage. We're trying, Terry and I are trying to get the local coverage. That's a thought I hadn't had about maybe he'd be willing to take a quick rest break. And I know he has certain miles he has to make every day to stay on track. But thank you for that idea, Mike. I'll look into it.
Any other comments?
Does this is Helene, does the
Yeah.
website specify where in Baltimore he's stopping and?
No, but Terry is handling the media. We're getting more information every day, so we will let you know for sure. He
Okay.
knows, but he's still in control of his schedule. So, like
Okay.
for example, I know in Pittsburgh where we have a support group that I'm trying to connect. They're meeting at the Heinz History Center. I guess Heinz
Okay.
Kitchen was in Pittsburgh. I don't know. So I will tell you, you have some interest in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Also, during the break, I made a little tutorial for the resources directory. So I put a link to it in there. So if you guys forget or like just need a little refresher on how to drop your information in there.
Is Diva, is that in the PNSN network actually, or do I have to copy that down?
Oh, it's there. You can go to the website and find
Okay.
it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or click on it right now, Rebecca, and it'll open and you can go back to it after the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Hey, I'm gonna wrap up, and in the chat, I put my email as millet@aol.com. It's in the chat. And if you want to email me concerning the marijuana panel or the biking or whatever. And also I've got a magazine called Brain and Life. I don't know if it's showing, but you can subscribe to that. I put it in the chat and you get it for free. And they send it out every 2 months. And it's a wonderful magazine and it talks about all types of everything from all types of it's just not neuropathy, it's all types of nerve diseases, caretaking, what's going on, what new research. But I've been getting it for about 7 years now. But again, all you do is fill out a postcard, but I put in the Brain and Life thing in the chat, and you can get this it comes free. You get every 2 months, you get a magazine.
You can also get it just emailed to you. That's
Yeah.
how I receive it, as an email.
And I
Thank
do
you, Bill.
recommend
Yeah.
it. Okay, also, I wanted to mention before we leave, on March 17th, one of our members, Steve Klitzman, has his group, his support group in Bethesda, Chevy Chase. It's going to be open discussion. That's on 3/17.
At 7 o'clock via
At 7
Zoom.
o'clock. Also on March the 29th, and this is something everybody here should be a member of the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy. They're sponsoring a webinar at noon on March the 29th, and it's a roundtable discussion about personal PN stories. And then on next April the 2nd, which is our next meeting, we have a support group meeting, and we have Chuck Bonhart, who is presenting. He's going to be hiking the national park trails with PN.
What date was that again?
April 2nd. It's always the first Saturday of the month
Okay.
that we meet. And I just like to say very quickly for Chuck Barnhart, it should be a wonderful presentation. He's actually done the hiking. He also, like the man Greg Marison, who is doing the e-bike, trained in preparation. He said he and his wife planned for a long time how they were going to hike, where they were going to hike, what trails would be accessible. He used walking sticks. He took pictures. So it's going to be a presentation by both he and his wife and their experience. So I think it will be a really, really good meeting to attend.
I agree.
Please join so you make sure you get your invite.
All right, are there any other questions, comments?
We can leave this channel open if anybody wants to just chat, talk. We can leave it open for as long as we need to.
I got to correct something. I thought it went through Sterling and Reston, but it does. It goes up the side of the Potomac, of the north side of the Potomac. Another possible place is the is where 15 crosses at Point of Rocks. That'd be a nice adventure, just getting out on some Saturday morning, some Saturday, and just that would probably be in the afternoon.
Could you say the name of it, please? Point of Rock?
Point of Rocks, where US 15 goes up through Leesburg and crosses over the Potomac. There's a bridge.
Or you could all join me in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Reno.
It doesn't.
Yes,
it does
Reno, yes. Love
it
to
doesn't
have
actually
you.
go through Baltimore, but it does go up through Montgomery County.
Goes
along the
Hagerstown, I know.
Yeah.
The problem with Point of Rocks is it's on April 2nd, which is the date of our presentation by Chuck Barnhart on the national parks. So that would start, I mean, that would, it would be a lot to do in one day, but I'm not saying no, believe me.
What time is the bike launch?
Technically, I think it's 10 a.m., but it's going to be like 10 to 11 because they're going to have all the people there. So
In Nevada, it goes through Baker, Ely, Eureka, Austin, Fallon, and Carson City. Is that near any of those near Reno?
Carson City is 30 minutes and Fallon is about, did you say Fernley or Fallon?
Fallon, Fallon.
That's an hour away.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you have your work cut out for you.
Elaine, do you have any contacts with media out there? Anybody you know of, a writer, an editor, print or radio or TV?
I know somebody on TV, yeah, for seniors.
Wow.
They have a, yeah, she's on my Facebook. Her name is Erin Breen, Breen. Erin Breen.
Uh-huh.
And she might be a good connection.
Okay, that's what we need. Anybody else have media contacts in any of the 12 cities? Let us know. We would appreciate it very much. If we get them out there, he has the footage that he's doing his filming. He's willing to take pictures, do interviews. He's really being very open to getting as much word out as possible. Or did you say green or B?
B is in boy. B is in boy.
Okay.
Oh, you corrected it.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, I have a stupid question.
All right, no stupid questions.
Rebecca,
Yeah,
somebody
stupid
said,
answers
what is the patch? Is that a paper newspaper thing, or is it an online thing?
It's, I think it's
both.
online.
It's actually both. I mean,
Yes.
initially it was print. I'm not sure that they're printing still. It's definitely online and it's across the country. And I'm glad you brought it up because we have posted these event notices for this meeting and the last meeting on Falls Church, Annandale, Alexandria West, Reston, Herndon, Richmond, I think. So we'd be very interested. That's why I asked Chris or Jeff where they heard about us, whether any of that advertising reached anyone or motivated them to come. So
Pat, I thought next time I would put those notices up the day before, because I put them up a week before, and I think a lot of people that just, it's just more stuff in their inbox. But maybe the day before might strike more interest when they know, okay, if that's tomorrow, maybe I can tune in.
are you talking about patch notices?
A patch, yes.
The patch, you put it in and they put it, the top 5 or 10 events in your area, and it's changing daily. So it comes up. I mean, like I just got my notice again yesterday reminding me about this. So I don't know. we'll look into that. We can do a subscription and have it all over the state of Virginia. But because of Zoom, we don't have to do that. We don't have the geographic limits. Diva?
I made a tutorial for how to post on the patch, which
that's right.
when I emailed it to you guys, it got corrupted or something. I don't know, but I thought it would just be easier because I made that tech help section. I'm just gonna post the tutorial on there so that, you know, if you guys want to see how to post on the patch, you can just use that. And for each event, there will basically be an event description, so you can just copy the details from there, and we can just like have that up on the website so that you know, it's not like everyone can just post on their own patch, and it's a
You can post for free in one neighborhood. So that's what we tried to do, is get one person in each area to post, and we're into not reinventing the wheel. So we wrote up one ad or a description of the meeting, and we just copied and pasted it to every patch that we could access. So anybody in an area that I didn't mention that would like to, you can watch Diva's tutorial or contact one of us and we'll help you do it. We appreciate that.
I just tried to get on Patch, you know, to download the app. They have an app.
Right.
Yeah. And I had difficulties.
Oh dear. I
They
had no
didn't-
problems in Annandale.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, well, I'll try again.
All right, Judd, I'm signing off. I've got 4:02, but if you want to stay, you know, people want to stay on, they can, correct?
Yeah, we'll just leave the link up and people can just talk. Sometimes that works. Sometimes people have issues they want to talk about or just socialize. So I can leave that up for 30 minutes or as long as people keep talking.
We got a bunch of people who haven't said a word. I assume that that's not a case of cat got your tongue, but I sure like to hear from Edward and Gail and Jerry and Gloria and Walt. And I think I've heard enough from Judson, but that's okay.
Not near enough.
Well, also, I would like to thank Diva and Rebecca and Judd and Pat for all their help and all the people who participated. And sometimes people just don't want to talk unless you, you know, they'll talk when they want to talk.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't get to know them, and I get so careful.
Well, you can cry all you want, but
cry all I want.
It doesn't
That's
work.
what I love about this group. I can cry all I want.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank
I
you.
hate
It
to
was
see you
very,
cry,
very
Mike.
very
Hate to see you
informative.
cry.
Right.
It's Walt Carlson.
Okay.
Oh,
Good meeting. Appreciate it. Thanks for all you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. See you,
for
Walt.
moderating, Bill.
See ya.
Thanks,
I'm gonna
everyone. I
leave too,
really
folks.
appreciate it. I'll see you next month.
Great.
Okay, good.
Good.
People are leaving.
How you doing?
Hi, Edward. So
Yes, that's me. Yeah, I just want to say thanks for the meeting. I enjoyed it today. I think my situation is a little bit differently though. And Mike, we talked about this before where I'm really not in a lot of pain, but I've got the numbness that I mentioned that you guys talked about today. I constantly have a tight boot on both feet, balance bad. I mean, I made all the tours through Mayo up in Minnesota, Johns Hopkins, and I mean, they've just given me the you know, sensory motor idiopathic. You know, it's funny, when I went to Mayo, they put me on the table, they did the test. I don't have the autonomic, but it's just motor and sensory. And I guess I'm fortunate in a way. I've mentioned this before, Mike, where I don't have that pain. I'm not dealing with that pain. Very little in the fingers, but numbness is just absolutely driving me crazy. I had genetic testing done. I had CMT. I spit into, and Pat, you mentioned spitting into the test. I did all that at you know, University of Pennsylvania, and
Wow.
we just had a stump with me. They just sorry, we just don't have anything.
where do you live, Edward?
I actually reside in Cape May, New Jersey.
Ah,
But right now I'm in the Outer Banks. We have a house here. So I kind of got linked up with CJ's group as well. And Bill, I've seen you over there for the last couple of months, but it's just like I try to walk. I go maybe about a quarter of a mile, and that's about as far as I can get.
yeah, I have a record that I play. Well, it's not actually a record, but anyway, I got a recording of an album that I play, and my goal is to walk around until the album is over, and that's getting harder and harder and harder to do. I just get really, really tired, but it is a goal, and I think that's probably what you need to have, is to have a goal. You're going to push yourself. It turns out that the critical piece of exercise is to push beyond, just to the point where you're just really pushing hard. That's what's going to save that's what's going to tell your body to keep repairing those damn nerves and trying to repair them as much as possible. Because whatever is going on, and we don't, scientists just either don't understand or only barely understand what's going on. We know for sure that the body's going to attempt to repair what you use, but you got to really push hard, and that's the fundamental aspect of exercise. Is you
Yeah, Mike, I've been to several neurologists, okay, and they all tell me, don't stop walking. That's all they keep saying.
Yeah.
Don't stop walking, And I mean, I do my best. My wife walks with me. I mean, I'm not diabetic. I've been all through those tests and so forth. B12 was a little low about 5 years ago, but it was only like in the 212 area, which really wasn't all that bad. But I mean, I've had more tests on me than I can even talk about, electronic test, everything. But, when you go to Mayo, believe me, they do a screening up there that just, there's nothing like it up in Minnesota. But, it all started with me about 1960s, about 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time you had that's the first time you had any sense at all that something was wrong?
I'll tell you, probably back around 2019, I started to get a little tingling in two of my toes. Just a little tingling though, but not so much a little, like it felt like cotton balls were stuck on the bottom of my toes right here. But it was like that for about 6 years or so. It never really progressed anywhere. And then it started to progress in, I would say 2016, 2018, it started to get worse. And in the last few years, it's really gone, but I plateau for a level and then it goes down. Then it holds for about 6, 7 months and then gets worse again.
I had a counselor. I said, I could deal with any of this if we just stay there. If you just stay there and not get worse. But then sure enough, something else happens and it gets a little worse.
Yeah.
And I whine and complain because I think that's our right. That's what we're here for. People to listen to me whining and complaining, and then they sign off.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm finding this to be helpful to me because I have nobody that I can talk to about this. I don't have a family member that has it. I don't have a friend that has it. It's just, and you feel like you're out there on your own on an island, but then you run into support groups like this, and all of a sudden you can start to relate to different things, and this all starts to, I've got that. This one's got that, and it does help.
I actually thought when I first, it's been 6 years, when I first started feeling it, I went to my dermatologist and asked her for medication for athlete's foot. Little did I know. It had nothing to do with athlete's foot, but anyway.
Well, hey, let's put it this way. I think, it's funny. You listen to different people talk and there seems to be this common, like, you got a little bit of this, a little bit of that person, a little bit of that person, and what's the expression? There's probably 100 different causes, but we all have about 10 common symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so true.
That's the reason a lot of the topics that we're talking about are having to do with how to live.
Manage.
What changes do you want to make in your life so that you can keep functioning? Housing, driving cars, feeding yourself, talking to your children, so forth and so forth and so forth. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, well, you brought up, you brought up today the hereditary thing, and I agree. I forget who mentioned it, but they said that it seems as though that is really becoming more and more of a good clue, but they just have not spent enough money on it. They just have not done enough research on it, but both Mayo and Johns Hopkins both said that their best guess is somewhere along the line, mine's on the hereditary side.
Yeah, what we don't recognize is just how horribly difficult it is to study this stuff, because we just can't see what's going on inside our bodies. We have no way. The nerves in your legs are a minuscule part of all of the structure of your legs. So when you do an X-ray or an MRI or something, you can't see the nerves because they are just a tiniest part of all of the stuff that's in your leg. And that's generally true of your entire body. The nerve tissue is just a tiny part, and yet it's controlling everything else. It's its research is very hard.
Yeah, well, to me, I never had a biopsy done, but they did up in Mayo. They said it's the axons on my. They gave it axonal peripheral neuropathy. I said, okay,
I have the same thing. That's
Okay.
that's what my neurologist said.
Yeah.
And I've not had the punch biopsy either.
No.
But, and yeah.
If you got a nerve,
they
conduction test,
basically-
there's no point in getting a punch biopsy because they know that those parts of your nerves are going to die just like everything else.
Right.
Why get a nerve?
Well, that's what they said up there. They said no sense doing one. They said we know what it is, that sort of thing. Do their testing and stuff. But But listen, thank you very much for today, and I'll see you next month. I'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Well,
Take care.
I'd like to explore genetics a little more. So which kind of doctor would I go to? My neurologist and ask him, or my internal medicine doctor, or who
Well,
would?
The problem with your neurologist, unless he's in a research program, and there are, well, I don't know. What about the University of Nevada? Don't they have a medical school or something?
Where people go from here is University of California, Davis, or UCSF, or they'll go down to the to Las Vegas. They have a brain and nerve center, but that's 8 hours away. It's not, and San Francisco's 4, so.
Yeah.
Well, you don't necessarily have to go there. Just get on the Zoom with these guys and talk to them. The reason I say that is because your neurologist, first off, was given only some training in how to diagnose it.
Right.
That's it. The assumption was when he was in school was there is no way to treat it. And that's almost true now too. But they are finding things, the genetic things, like, hey, look, if we treated this, might we be able to control the symptoms for this particular genetic problem? That's the kind of questions they're asking now. But only the research guys are going to be at the point we're discussing, is that possible? So you're not going to find a neurologist who has been trained in that. So you just have to recognize that if you want to talk to anybody, you're going to have to talk to somebody who has got at least 1 foot in the research world.
I wonder if she might not benefit from listening to Dr. McCrae's presentation. Helene,
Yes.
about 3 months ago, Dr. McCrae from Hopkins did a presentation on that. He focused on
Charcot-Marie tooth.
thank you. And it was a pretty interesting presentation. That might be a good starting point. It's on our website. What month was that? I forgot. November, yeah.
Okay.
And there's questions too, so that's good. People are asking questions.
So I would listen to his program, but I'd have to really go mostly out of state, and to go with a neurologist that's, not local or too accessible makes it very hard for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just thinking that as a starting point for getting more information. That's all. Yeah.
Just to tell you how sympathetic I am, we complained, my wife and I complained vehemently having to drive to Baltimore to go to Hopkins. Oh gosh, we are so spoiled.
Well, anyway, so there's still, what concerns me like you is the fact that it's spreading. I can feel it spreading. And so where does that lead you to, which is some horrible stuff. I have a daughter who's a family practice doctor. And when I told her I had peripheral neuropathy, had almost no response whatsoever. And what?
You're not trained? No. If you have a personal trainer, if you have a gym, go to the gym and find their very most empathetic, sympathetic, kind, nice personal trainer. Someone who likes you and who will watch you and push the hell out of you. That's the most you can do. Get to be Mrs. Jim Rat. That's as far as we know, and there's reasons to believe it. That's the only thing we know that is going to help. Try to stay as active as possible. Your body uses its nerves to control your muscles. As your nerves die, your brain has to learn how to keep moving because it keeps losing little bits of signals that are coming from your body. So the exercise says, well, okay, I need to move. Let me try to move. So when you exercise, what you're doing, and not just lifting weights, but lifting weights is important, but also just moving around. When you move, your brain is saying, well, wait a minute, I don't have my sensor anymore. Well, how? Okay. And it has to compensate for the fact that it doesn't have as many signals as it used to have. So the exercise is using these remaining signals and is learning how to keep you under control. And it's the exercise that extends this life so that you can keep walking and so that you can cook your own meals instead of having to rely on somebody else who's cooking you don't really like.
And the other thing that I would say is that if you can't afford a personal trainer, they're incredibly expensive, $60 an hour or whatever. I've been able to do physical therapy. I had back surgery that got me started on physical therapy, but then I continued for balance training. And then I had a shoulder injury and all of that was paid for by Medicare.
Is that with the physical therapist?
Yeah, not necessarily a physical therapist. Someone
a
who,
trainer.
yeah, just someone who will watch you do something and they'll run over to, they'll walk over and they'll touch you on the arm, they'll touch you in the back of your neck and they'll touch you on your shoulder and say, no, you do it a little bit different. Do this a little bit different.
But
And
what
it's
I'm
better
saying
exercise,
is-
it's better for you.
What I'm saying is if you can't pay for a personal trainer, which many of us who are retired can't, or physical therapy has been covered by Medicare for me. If you get a referral from your doctor, your neurologist, your primary care, that you have balance issues, you may get their help in retraining your brain, as Mike is saying. It certainly has helped me, and I completely.
What I just got, but I'm really not that far into it, is a mirror. Have you heard about that? It's a mirror that goes on the wall, connected to the internet through your phone. And there are, I don't know, 50 different exercise teachers and probably 15 or 20 varieties of exercise that you do by watching somebody who's coaching you on the mirror. And that costs $30 or $40 a month after you buy the mirror. But I thought, since I'm not planning on going back to the gym, that I would be using that, and that's what I've been doing. So they have Tai Chi and weights and Pilates and floor exercises and just everything and stuff for seniors too, beginning, intermediate, advanced, expert, 15, 30, 45 an hour. So it's very, you can use it I use it every day.
Gail,
Can I make
yeah, you're nodding your head. Do you know, Gail? Do you know?
I want to make a plug for things that are available through more and more counties. I'm in Fairfax County, Virginia. I don't know about you all. But not just Fairfax County, but the other counties in Northern Virginia have these basic senior centers. And as part of the community and neighborhood division of the Fairfax County government. And it's a nominal cost of like $49 a year. I mean, for all sorts of activities, but every single one of the centers has some exercise classes, as well as this past several years, they've introduced some Zoom classes, which they're going to be continuing in Northern Virginia. And they're linking it so that Arlington and Fairfax and Alexandria and all the local areas are combined. And so I'm still doing, at one point I was doing up to 8 exercise classes a week. And these are general. They're not made for people who have specific things, but tailored, they're made for people who are older. And they're, so you do it at your own level and, and you check with your doctor if you want to. But for instance, I'm taking Tai Chi. I've taken Tai Chi for over 20 years. Yoga just started in the last few years, and continuing some of these through Zoom. And also something called SAIL, Stay Active and Independent for Life. It's a combination of resistance, balance, a little bit of aerobic. And then I take the Zumba Gold, which is basically for modified aerobic. Yeah. So, and then I have a separate Tai Chi class with a Tai Chi master I've been studying with for many years. But the sheer variety, and I just do it for my general health. But when they have me, and I would never exercise that hard. No, put that many hours. I mean, 6, 8 hours a week. It's amazing. I never did before, but now I love the class structure. It says I'm tired. Do I not want to do it? But I turn on the Zoom, or in some cases, I'm back to going in person to some of the classes at one of these centers. So if you're in any, and there's more and more, it's not just Northern Virginia counties. My sister lives in Columbia, Maryland. It's a little more costly because I have a monthly charge. But check into what's available for. In terms of community, especially for community or community activities and wherever you live.
Gail, how did you feel about taking it virtually? Because I tried that and I didn't feel like I was getting enough stimulation, I don't know. I wanted to get back in the gym, but because of the pandemic, I haven't.
I actually like it. So I like both. I mean, especially something like I presume yoga or I certainly with Tai Chi, if you're there for instruction, you're getting correction there and you're working with them, and even if in a group context, you're there. But on the other hand, if you're motivated just to do it with looking at I do it with this laptop I have, and I just take it around, and depending on type of exercise, I move the laptop around and do it. And it's sort of for a person, I consider myself somewhat lazy in some ways, but I force myself to do it, but it's a pleasure. Right now, it's such a pleasurable thing. I wouldn't miss it unless I really had something that a doctor's appointment or some other thing, or I'm traveling, I can't do it. And so I do it. Sometimes I'm very tired before I start, but once I've been through it, I just feel wonderful. No matter what the course, I just feel good. And I like the fact that it's a group activity, whether it's in person or on Zoom. Somehow it's a motivator for me. I'm not sure. Years ago, where I was employed at EPA, they had a gym, and they, the equipment and all. They showed you the ropes, and you did equipment. But somehow that for me that was less stimulating than having a group exercise activity. But that's just my personal taste.
Really, the exercises we're talking about are for any age, but the exercises you do, the problems you have when you get old are not much different than you have when you get PN. It's just PN happens earlier in life typically than you would otherwise see them. And so if you go into a class like Gail was talking about, and you just happen to be most of the people there are older, well, fine. The exercises you're going to do are the ones you need. So just do them. Yeah. And if, as long as you got somebody there who, when you're doing them, wrong or doing them not quite right, will point it out to you and get you to change. Now, I'd love to know what this mirror thing is. I don't know what that is. Did you?
Just go online and put in MIRROR. It's put out by Lululemon. And it's, I got it because, as I said, I don't want to go to the gym. And I can do it anytime without having to travel back and forth to the gym and expose myself to whatever. And I've been doing exercise almost my whole life. So I know how to hold my body but they give you reminders. That's basically what they do, is just show you, tell you. They point the camera even sideways so you can see the positioning of their bodies when they're doing various things. So anyway, it works for me. It's enough motivation for me to do it. And especially because it comes down to, they even have 5-minute classes and they have meditation. And I tend to do, I can put in a couple of 15-minute ones, and that's okay, that for you to split up your exercise. So I like it.
I like the way this whole conversation is running. This is great.
I think that Parkinson's, they want you to do a lot of, they have their boxing classes, which are basically fitness as well. And that's a neurological disease. So they're coming at it from the same way. Exercise, exercise, exercise.
Yeah, I mean, it's use it or lose it. That's just the basic principle.
The other thing is I have back issues, as I discovered only 6 months ago. And the thing that is helping me most is I do 30-40 minutes of stretching lower body with a stretch band in my bed upon arising. So I'm half awake, but not fully awake. I put Alexa on in the bedroom and she plays meditation music while I'm doing my stretching. And I had back issues and now my back doesn't hurt at all.
Where did you get the stretching exercises? Because that's a concern that I don't want to do them wrong.
Well, if you had Mirror, you could take a stretching class, they would tell you. I did yoga for 20 years. So I have a familiarity with the stretch and my body. It's basically listening to your body. You want to put some strain on it, but you don't want it to hurt. And I do what I call the stretching, I call yin yoga. Yin is holding a pose for 1 to 5 minutes. I've done a few of those classes. So I hold it until I feel it release. And then I'll go on to another move.
Okay.
So don't do anything that hurts, but when you feel some resistance, that's good. You want to.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm going to leave also and enjoyed the meeting very much. Thanks for your participation. And Gail, I'm glad to hear you're in Fairfax. I'm in Alexandria, so there you go. And Helene, I'm going to contact the Breen lady. I don't remember the first name.
Erin Breen, yes.
Erin Breen, and see about getting some coverage there. So
that would be great. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next month. Make sure
Yes.
you're going.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Save chat. All right, that was good. I don't know if we have a recording or not, but I see you. How are you doing? There he is.
Hey.
Hey.
I
That was
lost
good.
audio.
Can you hear
What's
anything?
that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, let's see. I may be on mute. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Okay, good. Yeah.
that was good. I don't know if we got a recording or not. I'm
I'm
totally
I'm,
puzzled.
I'm pretty sure we did. All right, I'm
Well,
gonna
no, no,
stop
I know we
recording.
did what we're supposed to do. What I don't know is whether Zoom did what